All right. So if you look at this, let's find the value of x and the measure of each labeled angle. What kind of angles do we have here? What are they called? Yeah, they're called vertical angles. And what do we know about vertical angles? They're what? They're congruent. Okay. So, uh-oh. I'm going to take six. Oh, no. It's not letting me do it. Come on. Come on. Ah! Okay. I'm going to do this with my mouse, so just bear with me. All right? Can't believe it's not letting me. So we're going to have 6x minus 45 equals 4x plus 5. Someone tell me, what is x? Ian? What'd you get? 25? All right, yeah, that sounds right. Okay. So you get 25 there. So what is the measure of each angle? Each angle is what? 105. Very good. Questions on this? Okay. We are going to move on. All right. This is just a reminder that MTV is up and running. Okay. If you need help, go immediately. How many of you have 6-day study hall? She's the other geometry honors teacher. Or one of the others, okay? She can help you a lot. Miss Berger in 5A is a geometry teacher. Miss McNamara is also a geometry teacher. Okay? The other ones are too. The other ones know geometry. You should be fine. But, if you need help, get it immediately. Okay? Alright. You're not going to write this down. We're going to talk about proofs like we did a little bit yesterday, okay? Now, I'm going to tell you about a paragraph proof. We're not going to do this example. I'm just going to give you an idea of what it looks like. Because sometimes this stuff is given to you in words, okay? And maybe you can use write it in a paragraph and then put it to column, okay? One way to write a proof is a paragraph proof. In a paragraph proof, the statements and reasons are connected in sentences. So if you take a look at this, it says write a paragraph proof of the congruent supplements theorem. All right, angle 1 and angle 2 are supplementary. Angle 2 and angle 3 are supplementary. So we need to prove that angle 1 is congruent to angle 3. We learned about this one yesterday, right? What you would do is you would say, given that angle 1 and angle 2 are supplementary, and angle 2 and angle 3 are supplementary, then angle 1 is congruent to angle 3 by the congruent supplements theorem. Okay? So it's just sentences. So don't read too much into that. It's the same thing. So again, they kind of went a little bit more into it, but you don't need to go nuts. Okay? This is your meat and potatoes. 2-column proofs. Now, 2-column proofs. One way to write a proof where the statements and the reasons are listed in 2-column form. When we're talking 2-column form, we are talking about having something like this. Here you will have statements. Oh my God. And then you will have reasons for those statements. Okay? And then you list like one, your givens, and then keep going from there to prove things. So we're going to take a look at this one first. So we have given A as a right angle, B as a right angle, prove that A is congruent to B. I'm going to give you a minute to write this down. Anybody still writing? Okay, give me a minute. All right, so let's go over this real quick. So if they're telling us that A is a right angle and B is a right angle, okay? Now, I'm not going to write all this out because, again, I'm using a mouse. So this all goes in for statement 1, and do not circle and draw an arrow, physically write it out, okay? And that is always our given. Oh shoot, what happened? Sorry guys. I don't know why that did that. Okay. This thing is giving me nothing but problems today. Okay. So for part 2, now we need to discuss how we're going to prove these two congruent. What's the rule that we need? We learned it yesterday. Should be on that front and back sheet. You know, the one I told you to kind of treat like a foldable, that worksheet. We would state that angle A is congruent to angle B. What's the reason? What's the reason? Go ahead. Very good. Now I'm going to abbreviate, but it's right angle congruence theorem. Make sure you write it out so you know what you're looking at. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to post the key for that worksheet, and I want you guys to check it out on your own and let me know what questions you have maybe tomorrow or end of the class today, okay? Alright, anybody still writing? All right, next proof. Given JK is 2.5 centimeters, NO is equal to 2.5 centimeters. Conclusion or prove that JK is congruent to NO. So again, this is our given. You're going to write all of this right here. Please help yourselves. Do not do what I'm doing right now. This is only because for some reason I can't write with a pen. All right, so this is given to us. Now, if both of these are equal, now remember yesterday we did discuss that these do not have a line on top, so we are talking about measures, okay? So someone tell me, for step 2, what is that going to look like here? They both have the same measure, so we know they're what? Good. I'm sorry? We know they're equal to each other, so I'm going to put J, K equals NO. What's my reasoning? What's my reasoning? This would be an algebra property because it's equality. It's kind of a biggie too. It begins with a T. Adam? Remember, if this is equal to this and this is equal to the same thing, then the two are equal by, went over it yesterday. Yeah, the transitive property, yep. Okay, so now that we know that they are equal to each other, we can conclude, oh my gosh, what? That they are what? Congruent. So this will be J, K is congruent to NO. And this is by? Very good. Definition of congruent. This should be segments. Questions on that? This transitive property, guys, get cozy with it. All right, here's the next one. Given the diagram as shown, because that can happen, prove that APR is angle APR is congruent to angle SPB. Okay, so for this one, you are literally going to state that this is your given, the diagram. So 1, you write diagram. And you state, hey, that's my given. Part 2 is going to be, it says prove that APR, so this right here, is congruent to SPB. Now what do we know about APR and SPB? They're both what? Go ahead. Well, we don't know they're congruent yet. We gotta define them as something before we can state that they're congruent. What kind of angles are they? Huh? Lines, okay. What do we call angles that are look like lines? Is a, what kind of angle? That's a bad A, but is it acute? Is it obtuse? Is it right? Is it, yeah, straight angle. I'm just going to abbreviate with ST, but you should write the word straight, okay? And we're going to have angle SPB is a straight angle. And over here, we're just going to assume that. Assumed from diagram. It is okay to assume straight angles. It is not okay to assume complementary angles. Okay? Or 90 or right angles. You can't assume those. But you can assume straight. Questions on that one? All right, 3. Now, if they're both straight angles, what do we know? David? Okay, easier than that. Yeah? Okay, they're not going to be supplementary because we're not adding two together. If they're both straight angles, they're both what? They're both congruent. So angle APR is congruent with angle SPB. And there's not really a name for this, so you just put all straight angles are congruent. Questions on this? We got one more, and I'm going to show you guys what to do with your homework. So you have given angle 1, angle 2, and angle 3, 20, 40, 30. Prove that XYZ equals 90 degrees. Those should have M's in front of them. Why they don't, I don't know. But it should be the measure of angle 1, the measure of angle 2, the measure of angle 3. Should have an M, an M, and an M. And we're proving this measure. Never mind, I'll rewrite it. So 1, you're going to take all of this and put it down here. And you are going to physically write it. You're not just going to circle and go. Because if you do that on a test, I'm marking it wrong. This is just a set of circumstances that I get one thing fixed on this computer and then another thing breaks. Okay, so if I wanted to fill in some of these blanks, I would put, okay, so this is 20, this is 40, and this is 30. Now, how do I know I'm going to get 90 here? Like, what am I going to do? Good. I'm going to add them together. Do we have a rule for that? Go Go ahead.
Angle addition postulate.
Angle addition postulate. So part 2 is going to be that the measure of angle X, Y, Z is going to equal the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 plus the measure of angle 3. And that is from the angle addition postulate. Again, I'm abbreviating, you should not. Okay, so now that we know that this is the angle addition postulate, step 3 would be to take these values and substitute them in. So the measure of angle X, Y, Z is going to equal 20 plus 40 plus 30. And what did I do there? If I'm not here, who's in my place? A substitute, right? So I substitute. That's substitution property. And then this leaves me with step 4, which is adding those together. So the measure of angle X, Y, Z is going to equal 90, which is what I'm looking for. But what did I do there for step 4? Who could tell me? You have 2 options here. I just need one of them. These are all constants, and I added them up. What is that called? Yep. Combine like terms. That's one way. For something like this, simplify would work as well. But combine like terms is probably should be your go-to since it's all on one side of the equation and it's something other than, and it's addition. Okay, so questions on this? Anybody still writing? Okay. So your homework for tonight, I want to just give you guys a little bit of, show you guys a little bit what's going on here. This is a scoot activity, okay? You're not going to have to physically write every proof, but you are going to have to give the correct statements, okay? There are 4 algebra proofs, 5 algebra proofs, sorry. And you're going to have to state which is which. Here is where you're going to complete these statements using the given properties. This one, this one, this one, and this one, 2 through 5, are in your foldable. I think one is, but I can't remember off the top of my head. You might have to Google that one, but it's going to be a very helpful property coming up here, okay? And then you have 2 geometry proofs, again, where you're scooting them in. Be careful with these. Just grab, make sure you get the arrows and then grab, because otherwise if you double click, you're going to erase things that you need, and you don't want to do that, okay? Sound good? Questions? All right, and don't forget you have that second Google form for inductive reasoning, okay? Or deductive reasoning, sorry, deductive. And that's it. Those of you watching at home, have a great day.